What's up guys, Max here with an update to Street Fighter V as far as the development of the game going into August and September. The big one is that rage quitting is going to be getting a small adjustment in comparison to stuff in the past. We do know there's always been a rage quitting issue with Street Fighter V, and they have done some things in the past few months to try to alleviate it, but it wasn't strict enough, and it looks like they are trying to resolve that. The second update's going to update the existing rage quitting system with stricter guidelines for people who do disconnect before the match is over, and those that are penalized are going to lose league points and be locked out of online matchmaking for a set period of time. This was already happening to some players, but not nearly enough, because before you essentially got like a few rage quits before you even got penalized. That's the big change that we're going to be seeing in terms of August, but come to September, there's a pretty big update that they're going to be changing in terms of fight money. Finally, there's going to be weekends and special events that allow you to earn double fight money earnings in ranked matches, which has been done quite a bit in other games, including Killer Instinct, so I'm very glad to see that this will be something that is happening, and the first one is September 2nd to the 4th. The other big September update will include things like daily targets for those fight money rewards that they've been talking about for quite a long time. That's finally going to be happening. The versus CPU option will also be happening in September, but it's not the arcade mode that many are probably wanting the most. Versus CPU simply just allows you to play against a CPU opponent that's not in survival, or simply just setting the CPU opponent in something like training mode to be a varying difficulty between easy to very hard. That's just kind of nice, and it's crazy it's taken Street Fighter V this long to do that. I do personally think that Street Fighter V needs to be working pretty hard to make everyone as happy as possible, and the next thing is something that will definitely be doing that, because for Season Pass holders, colors 3 to 10 for default and battle costumes of all the 6 DLC characters are going to be free, and the premium costumes will now also include colors. So if you did buy a premium costume or are going to buy a premium costume at some point, it will include all 10 colors for that costume, which is very, very, very welcome. The last bit is that colors will also be purchasable via fight money or real money for all 22 characters and their default and story costumes between color packs 3 to 10. So that's the one thing they were talking about, that if you don't want to deal with survival mode, you can now spend real money or fight money to acquire those colors. And that just about does it, and this is where I want to kind of talk about some stuff I would like for Street Fighter V in the future of the game. These updates for August and September are nice, and it's good to hear that a lot of things are being added, but at the same time, I would really like to know when some characters are going to be coming out. We still have no direct word when Urien is going to be available. No other word in regards to the future of DLC characters after this first season, because Urien is the last one. I very much want to know that. I very much want to know when Urien is going to be available, because we're already halfway through the month of August. And I feel that with Street Fighter V in its current state, like I said, they need to be doing everything they possibly can to make everyone or anyone that purchased the game happy, especially the players that are still continually playing it. For a lot of people that don't know, Street Fighter V's recent sales numbers came out a few months after the game had been out, and as many of us were predicting, it didn't even hit the sales expectations of its first month, so they need to do something drastic. Street Fighter V needs to change in some way. I am happy to see the DLC support that is out there for the game, but at the same time, the cost of some of the costumes is getting kind of crazy, and the cost of some other packs at the same time is just leaving me thinking that, well, the game didn't sell very well. They must be really charging a lot for this stuff because of that fact. The other things I'm also really looking forward to are those classic costumes that they showed not too long ago for Alex and Ibuki and maybe even some other characters. These like classic costumes from their original games. Really want to know when that stuff is coming out. It would be awesome to know a release date for that as well. But overall, these things are small, like DLC updates, changes to modes. We got the big story mode, which is probably one of the biggest updates Street Fighter V is going to get this year. That stuff's already out, and I don't really see a lot of stuff changing or it pulling everyone in. So, like I said, focus on making all the hardcore people that have been playing the game all the way since its launch date, regardless of any issues the game has had, super happy. I would like to initially pitch something along the lines of, like, make the game a cheaper title. You do not have to charge $60 for Street Fighter V anymore. They were originally going off this, like, Bruce base price model, but at the same time, just making Street Fighter V into a Super Street Fighter V seems like that's going to make a lot more sense, because they're probably going to add in systems and changes and more V-skills and more V-triggers. The game will feel like a proper big update, which most people, I assume, are actually waiting for. Just because of the history of Capcom fighting games, the majority of people that actually go out and buy fighting games Ignore the vanilla release and wait till a superior version is available down the line that includes a majority of characters, costumes, and stuff like that. This is notorious with NetherRealm games, and it's also happened with Street Fighter games over the past, well, quite a while, especially with Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter 4. So I think that needs to happen. I think if Street Fighter 5 wants to get its chance to get into the audience's eyes once again, outside of that really, really bad stigma that was the game's launch, they need to have some sort of relaunch of some kind and incentivize the players that have purchased the game early on something really cool, like characters or DLC or costumes, something they would get incentivized for free because they had been playing the game and bought the game in its early state. I don't have the solution for this. All I'm saying is that it feels like something needs to change with Street Fighter V in its future, which is why I'm assuming that it might go to something like Super Street Fighter V instead of staying the core Street Fighter V game that is like still $60 in many places, which seems ridiculous at this point. Either way, I'm still having fun with the game. I play it on and off, and I'm having a lot of fun with the latest mods that are available for it, but let me know what you guys would think would be some good things that they can possibly do to bring back people into SF5. Do you think that releasing Super Street Fighter V is a good idea, or should they stay with the core game and just update it like they have been? As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.